Welcome back to the channel. This week we step away from evaluating cities and turn our attention to evaluating South American penguin encounters.
We actually took two different penguin tours, one in Ushuaia, one in the Falkland Islands, and we'll talk about the different logistics and the prices and like the key differences between them and let you know what we thought.
And at the end of the video, if you stick around, we'll bottom line it for you and tell you which of these tours you should choose if you have a choice.
And the conclusion may surprise you.
My name is Rick.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is Finding My Retirement. Okay, so we're going to start by talking about penguin tours in Ushuaia. There's many options, but they're all at Isla Martillo. It's about 80 kilometers away, and there's two keys to picking a tour: how you're going to get there and what you're going to do when you get there. So first, looking at Get Your Guide, there's kind of two different main options. This one involves taking a catamaran over to the island, but then when you do that, the catamaran pulls up to the island and you can't get off the island. So this is probably not our first choice if you have a choice. There's other ways to do it that are going to be better, including the big one, which is actually getting off and walking among the penguins, which is what we did. So if you have that choice, that's what we're going to recommend, and we'll talk a lot more about that later. But there are some logistical hurdles with doing the walk among the penguin tours. So if you go to Viator, you're going to have very similar examples. This one will show you kind of one of the examples with the catamaran pulling up to the beach, and you're with 80 of your closest friends trying to crowd to see penguins. But then the other option, if you're not going to get off the boat, is one of the little Zodiacs. This is an example of that. You're on a boat with maybe 12 to 20 people. This is a way better option. But again, the granddaddy of them all is if you can do the walk among the penguins ones. But if you do the walk among the penguins, or you're trying to do it, you have to do it through Tour. They are the only company that actually has a license to be on the island. If you pick another tour through Viator or something like that, and it says you're walking on the island, they're just a reseller. They're going to sell you a spot on a tour, and they're going to charge a middleman fee that's going to be a lot more expensive. So if you have the opportunity, go straight to Tour and book it through them, either through their website or actually going to there. If you're going to be in Ushuaia for more than a shore excursion, actually go and meet with them. Now we'll talk logistics and options at the Falkland Islands. So again, Falkland Islands, this is a little different because you're not always going to the same place. There are different places you can go to see penguins. This one is York Bay and Rookery. We did not do this, but if you look at the price, this is only $80. So this is going to be a massive bus tour with a bunch of people. It's a short drive. It's probably not an all-day event. This is not what we did. But again, you do have some less expensive options if you go to the Falkland Islands or the Malvinas, and we'll talk more about that distinction later. And then again, looking at Viator, the main choices here are what they call Bertha's Beach and Volunteer Point. Bertha's Beach, again, is one that you're going to take a minivan or a car and get to it. It's probably only about a 45-minute drive. It's still expensive, but this is not the one we did. We chose to go to Volunteer Point. If you do that one, you'll find out that it is like 2 or 2.5 hours away. This is an example of Volunteer Point, and you're in a little 4x4, either Jeep or Range Rover. There's only 4 passengers. It's about an hour and 15 minutes actually off-road, which some people are going to absolutely love and think it's a big part of the tour, and some people are going to absolutely hate. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is you've got over 2 hours each way if you want to go to Volunteer Point. But I do think it provides you the best penguin encounter. Again, we booked privately on this one through a company called Adventure Falklands. It was a lot less expensive than booking through the ship, and certainly than even booking through Viator or something. So we'll talk about the logistics of that. And then let's talk about how we actually did it in Ushuaia. So here's what you're going to see if you're on a cruise ship. You're going to get off the cruise, walk to the end of the dock, and you will turn right, and you will start to see these little kiosks. Pretty much all of them are going to offer penguin tours and Beagle Channel tours. But if you really have your heart set on the ones that actually get off the boat, you want to keep walking all the way down to the end, and you'll find Tour.
Only ones who do it.
So one of the tricks to Pura Tour is, one, if you don't book them in advance, they're probably going to be sold out, but they don't customize their tours for the cruise ships. So if your cruise ship stop doesn't match up with their schedule, you probably aren't going to be able to do it. But this is what we did. So we got on a bus, was the first thing. You can either take a bus or a catamaran or a combination. We took the bus there and we took the catamaran back. So you go about 90 minutes, you get off at Estancia Haberton, and then you're split into two groups. We were in the first group, so we headed off onto the little Zodiac style boat right away. And it was what, about a 10-minute ride or so on the
10,
Zodiac?
15, yeah, it was short.
So not a big deal, but this is how we got to the island. This is also how you get to the island if you do one of the other Zodiac tours. You'll take a bus to a landing point and then take the Zodiac across. But again, you have to be on a Pura tour if you want to do this and get off. So let's switch back and talk about the logistics at the Falklands or the Malvinas. Again, we did Volunteer Point. We're going to show some footage from our 2-hour drive. You start out on paved roads and then dirt roads, and then it's the end of the road. So on the screen, we're going to put some excerpts. This is the email we got from them talking about all of the logistics. It really laid it out well.
Yes.
It's pretty simple, easy to understand, easy to find them. And because it's in small cars, you don't need to worry about waiting for 40 people. Once you've got a group of 4 people, they throw you in a car and send you off on your way. So you do stop for a bathroom break and then you're off-road. And so this is kind of what the 90 minutes is like. Seriously off-roading. Again, some people are going to love this. Some people will not love this. You do pay for this on-site in cash.
Yeah.
For us, it was $250 a piece or $500. I'm sure when you're watching this, it may have gone up. But there is a way to pay without cash, but it's more expensive in logistics, so you should try to pay in cash. Sounds like they'll take US dollars or euros or Argentinian pesos. And then once you get to Volunteer Point, that's when the penguin encounter starts. So now let's talk about the actual penguin experiences.
In Ushuaia.
Yeah, turning back to Ushuaia, you can see here, this is one of the boats. This is the beach that the boats are going to see if you're not getting off. We were a little disappointed when we first got off because we thought, wait, the little boats are way less expensive and they're as close
right
or closer than we're going to be.
Yeah.
But stick around and you'll see the difference between doing the pull up to the boat tours and the
get
off the boat tours, because everyone sees that one main beach. There's tons of penguins. It is super cool. So it's a great option if it's your only option in Ushuaia. I do still recommend it. I'd try to do the small boat if you can, not the big catamaran, so that you're not fighting 80 people trying to see the penguins. You get to kind of walk around to the group. Understand, this is going to be one of the big differences. In Ushuaia, it is very structured. You're with a guide, with a small group of maybe 15 or 20 people. You're walking around together, often single file. You have no choice. You kind of do what they tell you to do. But the guide also tells you all kinds of great things about the penguins. So now this is the other side of the island from where the boats dock, and this is where the Magellanic penguins were frolicking in the surf and diving and have it playing. You only see this if you can get off on the island. So this was the first time we thought, okay, we picked the right tour, because this was pretty darn cool. Again, you can't wander on your own. You've got to stick with the guide, but he'll tell you about their behaviors and their patterns and their mating and all the other stories. Really cool licensed guide who has all kinds of great facts. So it didn't bother me too much to be sticking close, but you don't really have that freedom just kind of explore and commune with the penguins.
And he'll take pictures of you guys, so.
Yeah, I think we showed a picture,
earlier.
and the guide will take those pictures. But then the next thing you do is where it really starts to turn. You walk up the hill towards the Magellanic penguin rookery. And this was just amazing. Now, they tell you on both of the tours, you have to stay 10 feet away from the penguins, but the penguins don't know that.
No.
And so a lot of times, if you just stand still, the penguins will walk within a couple of feet of you. And so these are the nests, and they had the babies there, and they were working on the nests. And sometimes one of the couple was out fishing, and the other was working on the nest. And this is something, again, you will absolutely only see if you are on one of the Pura tours in Ushuaia, because the boats can't even see up here. But this was really amazing. So if you're getting value out of this, please like and subscribe to our channel. Watch the cute penguins, but click that like button. It really helps us out. So yeah, this was one of the highlights for me, was seeing the nests. And again, some of these penguins came within a foot or two of you if you just stood still, because they certainly don't know the 10 feet away rule.
No.
And they were super cute. You're going to see Magellanic penguins and Gentoo penguins in Ushuaia. I guess every once in a while they might get a king penguin. We did not see any, but it's primarily the Magellanics and the Gentoos. And so this is all footage of the rookery and the nests of the Magellanic penguins, which is kind of the highest spot you walk up to on the island.
Yeah.
It's not a big hike, it's just a little ways up. But again, this is not something you can see from the shore, and definitely not something you can see from a boat. And so here comes one of the guys who was actually building his nest. There's just a little clip of this, but we watched him for maybe at least 5 minutes, just walking over, getting a clump of grass, diving down into his nest to kind of puff it up, and then back out he came to go get another clump of grass.
He was so cute.
Really cool.
He had a name. I can't remember. Ricky or Rocky or something
yeah,
like
I can't
that.
remember his name, but I think his wife was out fishing.
Yeah.
So lots of penguins, lots to see. Time of year and the size of the babies is obviously going to differ. We were there in
March?
early February.
Oh, February.
For Ushuaia.
Oh, yeah.
And then after that, you walk down and around and you get to the Gentoo rookery. Again, not something you'll see from the boats. This wasn't quite as interesting and you couldn't get as close, but I really liked the Gentoo penguins.
Yeah.
And so we got to go watch them, and just, again, you just kind of hung out and watched them, and the guide would answer questions and talk to you and take pictures. It was really an amazing experience, and any regrets I had at first about not just paying less money to do the boat tour, completely out the window.
Yeah, no regrets.
So I think if that's what you want to do and you can do it, that's the way to do it, is do the Piratura tour and get off on the island.
Yeah.
So now let's compare that and talk a little about the actual experience at Volunteer Point on the Falklands or the Malvinas. We are walking over to the king penguin rookery, and this is really an amazing thing as we got over there.
Well, they also had sheep there
and all kinds of birds.
But that's the nursery.
Yeah, this is where
the rookery.
The rookery where the king penguins and the babies, they were born, I think a couple months earlier when we were there. This was in mid-March when we did the tour at Volunteer Point. Just amazing.
And loud.
And loud. And if you got downwind, smelly.
Yeah.
But this is one of the big differences you're going to see. There was no guide here. The drivers were basically drivers to get you there safely. They told you the rules, but once you got to Volunteer Point, you were just off on your own, doing what you wanted to do.
Well, and you can see how close the penguins get to you. I mean,
yeah, you stand still and they'll walk right past you. You can't go inside that rock circle that you see on the screen. That's kind of the borders of the rookery. That's how you keep out of the rookery. But generally speaking, you can go wherever you want and wander around and hang out with the penguins. There's not a lot of people there. Through the penguins is very interesting. Yeah.
That one has their fur coat. Hi.
And if you really want to see king penguins, this is a way better experience than the one in Ushuaia, because there were thousands of king penguins. So yeah, these guys were fighting a little bit over one of the babies. They were mad at each other. I'm not sure exactly what was going on there.
No.
They do have the Magellanic penguins at Volunteer Point. They do have the Gentoo penguins. At one point after the rookery, we decided to just kind of follow some of the king penguins. They were heading down to the beach.
Yep.
So we thought we'd follow them and see what they were up to. And these guys were coming back from the beach to the rookery. So this is then again down by the beach, and this is where we saw the Gentoos and the Magellanics and the king penguins all kind of together down at the beach. Different little clusters doing different things, a very different kind of environment and view than we saw up at the rookery. But again, you can just kind of wander around. The beach is absolutely huge, so you can go off and be completely by yourself with a little cluster of penguins and just watch them. You can kind of see a little bit how big the beach area is, and it just went on. It had to go on for at least a mile.
Oh yeah, it was large. It was a large beach. I mean, for penguins.
And what did we have? We had at least like an hour and a half here, maybe?
At least. It felt like maybe even 2 hours.
Yeah, I think we were about an hour on the island in Ushuaia, and I think we had about 2 hours at Volunteer Point. And it was You know, again, there was no guide kind of teaching you things and telling you things. You were just exploring and going where you wanted to go. So really, it was just fun. We hung out at the beach for at least 30 minutes just watching them. And they ran in the water and out of the water and up and down the beach. I think we've got a clip of one of their little footsteps pitter-pattering along the sand as they ran. It was pretty cool all around. But again, very different than Ushuaia if you want the educational aspect and you want someone talking to you and telling you about things, but in a very structured way. That's going to be Ushuaia versus this. But this was absolutely fantastic.
Well, and they do provide lunch on this one too, sandwiches and chips and juice.
So that guy was a Gen 2, and then we're back to a king, just wandering by himself. Again, they kind of mixed all together. At the rookery, it was pretty much all king penguins, but down at the beach, they were all mixed together. You could see some of each. So we got back up to the parking lot. We were about to leave, and I wandered over while we were waiting for people, and this group of king penguins just basically marched right past me. This was one of the highlights for me. This was so cool. And again, I just kind of stood still with my camera, and they walked right past me as if I wasn't even there.
They don't have fear. I mean, because it's not like they're hunted by people, so they don't have any fear.
And then also by the parking lot, there was a pond, and there was a whole bunch of the Magellanic penguins kind of bathing in the pond and just kind of hanging out. That was pretty cool too. Here that is. This was also up by the parking lot right before we left, and we got to watch these guys for a little while. And then we had to get back in our 4x4 for our 2.5-hour drive back.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the penguin experience of both of them. They both also have some other features to the day. So we'll talk briefly about those because that could also sway your decision a little bit. In Ushuaia, they split your group into two.
Yeah.
And so half of you go off to the island and the other half stay at this place called Estancia Haberton. And there's a museum and they're doing research. This is one of those places that does get some controversy because lots of bones, lots of kind of gruesome things. If you don't like this part, you can just kind of hang out. You don't need to go inside.
No. But
they will give you a little tour of the museum and talk through the different animals that they have and the rescue, the mission to kind of collect the bones. It is pretty cool, but a little bit on the gruesome side.
A little bit, yeah. Especially that one room where the things are decomposing.
Of the spine, we keep the cartilage in between two just to form the piece, and here goes the cartilage for the tail.
So then you get on the catamaran, or at least we did. You can take the bus back. We got on the catamaran for about 3 hour ride back to Ushuaia, and at times it wasn't really for the faint of heart. It was rough out there.
Bumpy.
So be prepared. If you get motion sickness, you probably want to take some Dramamine or Meclizine or Bonine or whatever you have, or the scopolamine patches, something, because it was a bit of a rocky ride. But they'll stop at the famous lighthouse, which a lot of people say is the lighthouse at the end of the world. It's not the southernmost lighthouse, but it's the most famous one down there. And you can see the seals and the sea lions just hanging out. So that was fun. This is when you get closer back towards Ushuaia, probably maybe 30 minutes or so from the end of the trip. So you see the lighthouse, you see the sea lions. Then you go over to the island. I can't remember the name of this one, but there's the cormorants on this one, thousands of them.
Yeah.
If you get a really unscrupulous tour guide, they'll take you to see penguins and just take you out to this island 30 minutes away. They're definitely not penguins.
No.
So don't let someone tell you they're going to take you on a 30-minute boat ride to see penguins, because they're just, they're lying to you and trying to take your money. It is cool to see, but they're not penguins. So that's kind of the end of it, and then you do the last boat ride and you end up back in Ushuaia.
Yep.
So going back to the Falklands or the Malvinas, you do see some of the history of the dispute between England and Argentina over the Falkland Islands and some of the memories of the 1982 Falkland Islands War. It's a very tricky issue. It generates a lot of controversy. We don't want to get in the middle of the politics. The UN has solved this problem by referring to the islands as the Falklands in English language documents and the Malvinas in Spanish language documents. So I guess we'll leave it at that and let you decide how you feel. Then you get some time in Port Stanley, which is where your cruise ship will have docked, and get to walk around town, which is really cool. So we did that for a bit. And then one of the other differences in the Falklands or Malvinas is it is a tender port for the cruise ships. So you're going to have to get on a tender to get to the dock and get on a tender to get back to the dock. So that's kind of your day in a nutshell for both places. And so then you get to the bottom line, which is which one should you do? And I think it's interesting. The winner is whichever place you go to first. And that sounds a little strange, but you have to understand you're in a rough part of the world, and these tours get canceled with a fair amount of regularity. I think at least a third of the cruise ships miss their port call in the Falkland Islands entirely. And even if you make it to the islands, if there's been a lot of rain, the 4x4 vehicles can't get to Volunteer Point.
No.
So you've got a pretty high likelihood of not getting to do the tour. So if you skip Ushuaia and do it at the Falklands and it gets canceled, then you got no penguins.
You have no choice.
Vice versa, if you're kind of coming from Buenos Aires and heading towards Santiago, if you skip the Falklands because you want to do Ushuaia, if it gets windy, and it does get windy, especially, you'll know this if you saw our last video, if it gets too windy, they cancel the tours in Ushuaia. And so really, I would say do the first one you have a chance to do, and then you have a backup plan if it doesn't work. And if you really have your heart set on one and it's the second one, then do them both. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this and you learned something. Like and subscribe to the channel. And if you tune in next time, we'll be back to talking about cities. We're going to tell you all about our thoughts on Santiago, Chile. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks so much. Bye.